All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back for part 3 of our ProjectSight series here. We're excited to get started. Looking forward to seeing a lot of familiar names on the list again. So welcome back, and welcome to everybody joining us for the first time. So this is the third part in our series, and we'll be talking about connecting our projects with the MEP side of what we offer in terms of additional tools alongside of our ProjectSight project management tool. So our agenda for today, again, we'll be looking at a couple tools that are included in that MEP group of software to really help a project manager with their day-to-day tasks. That goes into calculating costs that you might encounter along the course of a project, to progress tracking through the model, which you touched on a little bit in the previous series, but we'll go into a little bit more detail on what's really possible there. Linking that information from your model back into the project management tools. Then we'll next jump into just the platform, give you a good overview of what you're able to do within the webinar tools, introductions, and then a brief discussion on what we talked about up to this point before we dive into a little bit more of a demonstration. With that, I'll turn it over to George here to give us a rundown on the webinar platform.
You bet. Thanks, Alex. And thanks again for everyone for attending today. On screen where you're looking at us right now, you've got all these different boxes, and up on the top right, there's a little drop down for engagement tools. If you do see the chat, send us a question, say hi, where you're from. That feedback will help inform Alex and Hunter and I as we go through the presentation. And if you got any questions that we can't get to today, we'll be sure to get back with you later on. If you see a box on there that says request a ProjectSight demo or let's talk, that's a direct line to raise your hand to make sure we do get back with you afterward. So we appreciate you being here. Please use these tools to help make it as interactive and fun for everyone as possible.
Awesome. Thanks, George. So now we'll jump into introductions. I'm Alex Pratt, one of the sales engineers on the MEP side of things. So looking at tools on project management as well as virtual design and construction. My background is with a large mechanical contractor in that VDC area doing the 3D modeling, but along the way also interacted a lot with project managers and field teams on our large projects. So great to be here. I'll pass it over to George.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. My background's from the ERP space, where for the past 15, 16 years or so, I've been working side by side with our customers as they implement or use Viewpoint Vista or even Spectrum. So coming from that ERP side, last week's session was focused on how these project management tools can connect into the ERPs. So excited to be here and excited to be helping out. And I'll pass it to you, Hunter.
Yep, and I'm Hunter Hayden. I'm a ProjectSight specialist here at Trimble. Before Trimble, I spent 5 or so years out in the field working for a few different GCs. So a lot of project management experience there. Just to reiterate, if you like what you see and you want to see a demo or you have questions, feel free to use those Let's Talk and schedule a demo buttons to reach out directly to our team, and we can schedule something from there. And guys, let us know where you're coming from, what company you're with, and where you're located in the US or abroad in the chat here. Yeah, so this is just a reiteration of the previous webinars that we've had. So 2 weeks ago, I talked about how to collaborate across your teams with ProjectSight. I walked through a few workflows with purchase orders and PCOs and RFIs and submittals issues as well. So if you want to see those are linked on your webinar dashboard as well. So you should be able to access those from projectsight.com, and you can go to the webinars tab and view the previous ones.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Hunter. Yeah, don't forget to be able to access those links to be able to see the prior sessions we did. In the one last week, Connect Your Financial Data, we went through and we walked through some of the project setup options that are available between the ERPs and here in project management. So in terms of how budget codes are defined, how those estimates get in, whether they begin in the ERP or begin in the project management system, you have a choice. So we want to find the right workflow that helps your business be as efficient as possible. After that, we went into pending change orders and looking at the budget and how those pending change orders and commitments impact the budget to help inform our projected and forecasted costs at completion. And along the way, we talked about the security and switches that are in place to ensure that information flows into the ERP or accounting at the right moment for accurate project financials. So that was last week. I'm excited to see what Alex shows us now.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Great recap there. We'll kind of stitch a lot of this all together and frame it through the lens of a subcontractor, specifically on the MEP side. Trimble has some deep roots within the MEP space in terms of our estimating tools and our hardware. And so we really have a pretty unique offering when it comes to the project management set of tools and what we include in that package of software to support that type of contractor. And so don't forget, this is going to be available on demand as well afterwards. So you can pass this link along to anybody that maybe wasn't able to attend, any coworkers, or also revisit this on your own through ProjectSight.trimble.com. So this is something that we come across a lot in talking with contractors all over the country, is just how the disconnection of their teams from the field to the office really impacts the job, and everyone's really looking to make that process as efficient as possible. And so some of the things that we'll look at today is demonstrating how these different tools are really coming together to improve that overall workflow, shorten up the communication gap between the shop and the field and the back office. And this was a pretty interesting statistic from Dodge data. Some contractors are averaging about a 30% revenue loss just due to changes that are not invoiced. So when you think about that, that's pretty staggering. And really at the lowest level, small changes can really add up, whether it's good or bad. So keeping track of those and staying on top of that type of information is really going to swing the project one direction or the other. So our solution around this, if we've talked to you over the last year or so, you've probably seen this graphic, but this is a really simple image to kind of demonstrate what Trimble is doing to help solve these communication gaps, but also allow your software that you've maybe used for several years work and integrate better together. So as you know, Trimble has tools from the accounting area through estimating on the VDC side, shop fabrication, as well as our hardware tools. And we're really working to incorporate and integrate all of these different tool sets in ways that make sense to make this process more efficient. So as it relates to project management and ProjectSight, again, our MEP tools are kind of a unique offering in the market in that you're getting more than just a project management platform. You're getting tools that allow you to do quick estimates, procure materials from your local vendors, incorporating pricing and that information, as well as BIM tools so that any modeling that you may be consuming or producing within your own office can really be shared out to the team and utilized for project management purposes. And then all the way down to fabrication. So we'll take a look at some of the fabrication workflows that we have available to, again, just close that gap between the project management team and the shop and the office. So really these tools are, again, just focused on increasing that collaboration and efficiency. With the estimating side, as a part of this package, you can really start to capture those small changes and make sure that they're documented. You get accurate pricing, and you're accounting for the materials and the changes that may be a part of a change order or added scope. As far as unlocking the BIM side of things, again, there are several tools in our Trimble Connect environment that allow a project manager to really consume that model for more than just making sure that things are going to be installed without coordination issues, but taking that data a step further and utilizing it to help forecast, help project, do more of those project management related tasks. So from here, we're going to jump right in to the software and show how these things can interact and what is also included in the project MEP bundle. share my screen up here. Okay. So what we'll start, just to kind of illustrate again this connection across all of our different tool sets, is something that we've recently come out with called the Trimble Work Center. And what this serves as is a great launching point to get into the different tools that you may be utilizing across your company. So what we're seeing here on this particular dashboard is a view that maybe on the back office side, on your accounting or finance teams, you've got tiles in here directed around your accounts payable, HR information, Spectrum. We've got a ProjectSight tile here as well. And so this gives you a really great spot to see information at a high level. And then from each of these tiles, we can drill into that specific area of the tool to investigate further. So what's cool about these dashboards is that the users themselves can configure the tiles that are available on the Work Center and create, again, these links to quickly get to the information that's pertinent to them. So for a project manager, we've changed up this board a little bit to be more ProjectSight focused. So I can see issues and items that are assigned to myself. And this is going across projects. So now I have a spot that I can click right into a particular item, and it's going to bring me to that item within that project. So again, just one way that we're really starting to bring all of these tools together to make your teams and also the users more efficient. So going on to the ProjectSight side of things, for our MEP customers, what they'll see up here in the application tool set is a group of software specific to those workflows that our MEP trade contractors are going to be utilizing. So we've got direct links to our Connect to Fab application to help you visualize any of the spooling or prefab activities that you're doing through a model environment. Estimation MEP, which is a cloud-based estimating tool with a built-in database that really empowers a project manager to start doing those takeoffs and material lists that they may need to do for a change order, added scope, all without having to go into a different software system. They can do it from their laptop right on the job site via the web. Submittal Manager and Supplier Exchange are also included. These are part of our trade service tools. So Submittal Manager allows you to upload a bill of materials, and we've got a number of different ways that we can put that information into trade service. It could be from an estimate. It also could be pushed directly from a model into our trade service environment. And then we can pull the submittals that are available in our trade service library for all of those parts and pieces that are part of our Trimble systems. Supplier Exchange is another one of those trade service tools that actually extends this information from the bill of materials out to our distributors. So this gives you at the contractor level a way to digitally connect, take again that bill of materials right out of estimating or from your VDC model. You can publish right into this application and start to procure those with your distributors and see your pricing directly through the application. So you don't have to rely now on email and sending things back and forth to get quotes. That can all be done through a streamlined system. So any questions coming in so far, Hunter or George?
Couple questions about bid management and workforce management that we got answered, but nothing so far.
Okay, great. We'll keep on moving here. So one of the workflows that we'll look into is around that kind of change management. And we touched on this in the previous sessions. George touched on this as well. But in regards to our change order workflow, again, using that estimation MEP tool can really unlock and empower a project manager to quickly do these types of activities. So right within our change order module, you'll see that we actually have a link right into estimation MEP from the change order screen. So we can also get there from that application tool. But what happens when we click that button is it's going to bring us right into our estimation MEP tool. And it's going to take the information as far as the PCO name and number and generate a new estimate file for us. So it's really giving us a really quick link into starting that process. And then from here, a project manager has a tool set available to them that will look for our AccuBid and LiveCount customers, very similar to what they see inside of live count. But some of the differences here is they have a built-in library of information and parts. So we can go to our library. Here it's referencing trade service. And now I can type in exactly the part or piece that I want to start to take off. So let's take off some 3-inch piping. So I can just type in 3-inch, type out copper. Oh, of course I typed something in wrong here. Of course, this was working for me perfectly just before this. Well, we'll go out this way. So I can go drill through the manufacturer. And maybe we're hung up here on the internet.
Hey, Alex, when project managers today, if they don't have a solution like this, an estimating solution built in right into the PM tool, what are they typically doing? I'm just curious.
Yeah, great question, George. So what this is really replacing for a lot of folks that we talk to is they're using spreadsheets and maybe a PDF markup tool to facilitate counting, doing measurements, and now we kind of have that combined all into one. So we're able to do those counts and measurements through a very easy to use tool, but it has a built-in library of real-world parts based in that trade service environment to allow us to do those takeoffs, and not have to worry about managing as much of a database.
Okay. Yeah, I know I've seen some folks too will have to go back, right, to the estimating team. There's some education, right? There's a conversation, there's work that has to happen in order to get it right. You got to communicate well there. So putting it right here also seems to be a time saver, just simply.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can see here, once I refresh my search did work again, I can take this set of drawings. I've picked my copper tube, and now I'm right on top of the drawing. I'm taking off these quantities and the fittings associated with this.
Yeah, that's cool.
And Alex, for those subcontractors already using AutoBid or AccuBid, can you explain, how they might use both or either one for different scenarios?
Yeah, great question. So really where this comes in again is more on the project manager side of things. A lot of times we see that project managers don't have licensing to the full-blown estimating solutions. And so this is included with our project management tool to really give that PM a lightweight tool that's got these built-in libraries so that they can, again, capture those small changes. So they don't have to go back to the estimating department necessarily, right? They can keep going, and they can ensure that these changes that might come up throughout the job are getting captured in the right way. So you see here, I just took off some pipe and fittings, and now we can go to the audit trail, and we've got those associated and the lengths all linked up here. So as soon as we took those measurements off, it was associating that to the pipe itself. And you'll see that we also have the pricing and labor hours coming in for the quantities and the materials here. So once we do this workup, we can go into our summary type screen. And here we've just got this broken down by system type. But what's great about this is that's going to summarize all the different parts and pieces. And then you'll see up here is something that was just added is being able to pull supplier pricing right into this module. So we can hit this get supplier prices, and that's going to ping the distributors that we're connected with right inside of this utility. So this is pulling in that supplier exchange information to allow us to connect with our local distributor and get up-to-date pricing for those materials that we just took off. So here I'm showing some connections that already exist, but we can go right into add supplier. And now I can search for suppliers that are in my local area. So I'm in the Minnesota area. I can search within 100, 200 miles, pick my industry. And now I can see all of the local distributors that are already in the system. So when we talk about creating those connections to simplify that process, this is really moving us in the right direction in terms of making that change management workflow happen faster. Alex, does estimation MEP work for ductwork as well? Yeah, great question. So that is something that is not available yet inside of the tool, but I'm told that is coming as we have our auto bid product available for sheet metal. That is something that I believe they're working on. But the priority at this point and what's available is our piping content and electrical content. Okay, so now moving on, we're going to look at a little bit more in depth of how we might use the model inside of this environment to start to link and track progress on more of a project management level. Again, taking that model that we use for coordination to make sure we've got all of our items and issues sort of flushed out, everybody's in a good spot. And now again, taking that and using it more for project management. So right from the application tool, I can go right into a connect to fab or connect and start interacting with those models. And as we saw from George and Hunter's presentation, we can also link those views right into different items within ProjectSight. So whether it's a drawing that we want to attach a model view to, or an RFI to help explain what's happening, we've got that ability as well. So when we click into our model, one of the great things that we can do is we can start to pull the data off of the elements inside of this environment. So we've got our model view here that we can spin around, we can interact with. There's great collaboration tools like we saw on the drawings module on ProjectSight in terms of making markups and linking to things. We can do a lot of those same things right within the model. So if we need to make a comment, we can do that here. Add any notes, we can take those snapshots, and those snapshots are what we can then attach to the items on the ProjectSight side. But back to the data side of looking into the model, what we got set up here is a group that in this particular model, we actually applied a budget code that matched our budget codes and the ProjectSight side of things. So now that we've got that parity in information, we can start dissecting this a little bit further. So in this grouping, we can see the different budget codes and what they correspond to, as well as the status that's associated with the items inside of that code. So for example, I can click on my piping right from this group. It's going to highlight all of that information. I can hide everything else, and I can just interact with the piping side of this model. And so now you'll see that the piping is actually highlighted based on the status that we've applied to it. And these statuses are some information that we can add inside the Connect environment. And that can be done through our Connect to Fab tool. And you can also add additional information that might be pertinent to what you do in your project management process. So whether it's a text input or some date fields, those are types of things that you can add into this model view to help you manage the project more efficiently. So from here, we're seeing a breakdown of those statuses. And then even in the data side of this, getting a breakdown of, for our hydronic piping budget code, how many feet of pipe is within that code itself. And then if we expand that, now we can see, because we've statused this information, where things are at progress-wise for this job. So we've got 110 feet out of about 1,600 feet on this floor that has now been installed. And these metrics are just coming from properties in the model. So if there's a different metric that you want to use, depending on the system, maybe it's a weld count or poundage of duct, those are things that you can pull into the table to help you quantify this in a way that matches what you're doing today. Okay, we can also reverse sort of look up. So if you want to see where is that installed piping, I can say that I want to select this in 3D from the plan view and highlight it there for me too. So now taking
Alex,
this a step.
We got a couple of good
go ahead,
questions in the chat if I can jump in. So first one is, how did you get the budget codes status in the organizer? And the second one is, can they have custom fields for the status fields, so the in fabrication, installed, and shipped, or are those hard coded into the system?
Yeah, great question. So we'll actually kind of look at that here in the next view. So this is in our Connect to Fab spool view. So we can take the model view a step further, really get down to the spool level detail, where we're doing some automation in terms of putting cut lengths and center to center dimensions right on top of this model. But what we're seeing here for status, this is our status dropdown within Connect to Fab. And these statuses are hard-coded around that fabrication process. But one of the cool things about Connect is you have the ability to add in your own properties as well. So if there's additional statuses that you want to see in terms of how you track things at your company, you can certainly add that information. The organizers in those groups are just pulling information from the properties of the model objects. So we can create groups that are searching for property sets and then make that the way that this model is grouped and colored. Okay, so if we go back to the Connect to Fab tool here, a couple other things that we can look at. So think of this as your shop view, or even on the field side of things. Now somebody that's installing or doing this prefab work can see at the model level how these items go together and in the greater context of the project. And that really can help with how things are packaged up for shipping, procurement, when you're able to see the overall context of the project rather than just a spool on a piece of paper. Okay. And so tying this all back to ProjectSight, a lot of our best customers are really using this to, again, track that status, but then bring it into the areas of ProjectSight that kind of tie this all together for the project team. So in our field management section, we may go on to daily reports. And now again, we can take a view that we've saved on the model side and we can attach it right into our notes. So I can use the link icon to our Connect model view. And now I've saved a view around progress. And I can attach that again right to my daily report, giving my project manager a direct link into what was done or any issues that maybe came up that day, and give them that context in relation to the model that we have. So again, right from ProjectSight, we can click in to that progress view, and it's going to have any notes that the field team may be documented on here, the same way that we might do this for an RFI. Okay. Well, we hit on a number of different things there, and that time really flew. It's already almost half past the hour here. So I'll stop sharing and we'll wrap up our session. But again, you know, really the MEP side of things and taking that greater Trimble vision, extending that out. A lot of this information is passing through Connect and using that as the conduit to make these processes more efficient. But really it's about, again, making the tie-ins in ways that make doing what you do daily more efficient. Okay. So again, ProjectSight on the MEP side, we're including tools around estimating, procurement, those BIM workflows, as well as fabrication. So that, again, is a really unique offering in comparison to other project management tools on the market today. Linked into the webinar environment, you will see a case study here for Dilfo Mechanical. And they really have embraced our Trimble Construction One utility set. You know, they really didn't have something that was holistic in terms of document control and one source of truth for their project teams. And so they've really implemented ProjectSight to help standardize that process, manage their drawings, RFIs, all through one location. So if you'd like to read more about how they've done this implementation, again, that case study is linked into the webinar here at the bottom. So with that, we'll get into any other Q&A that maybe has gone through the portal here.
We got one that was, what was the prefab module in field management? I'm not sure if you're referencing Vista Field Management. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So you just got a response that said that was just a rename or reconfiguration of one of the existing modules in ProjectSight, which kind of highlights what you can do with all of our different modules. You can rename them and kind of repurpose them for other things that you might need to track instead of what comes out of the box. got just a few more minutes for Q&A, so feel free to drop them in the chat if you've got any additional questions, or you can reach out to any of us. Our emails are up there on the screen now, or you can use those links to schedule a demo or just a quick call to answer some questions with us. But we'll get you set up.
Great, thanks. Thanks for facilitating the Q&A, guys. See here if anything else popped in.
Yep, looks like we're good to go here. So yeah, thanks everybody for joining, especially if you've been to all three. You guys deserve a t-shirt or a hat or something. So make sure to come to Dimensions and maybe we can set you up with one.
Yeah,
The
thank you,
views from the
everyone.
model can be used for any record. Yep, that's absolutely true. And the workflow to get those cost codes over to Connect, Alex, those pull in directly from your budget from ProjectSight, right?
So right now they're either coming from the Revit side of things, so we can put those as properties in our base design model, or we can also populate them into Connect just by selecting elements.
Okay. Michael Oswald wants an Excel, so I'll write that down.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Hopefully that was informative. Love to do any follow-ups as needed for anybody as well. So again, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.